Chapter. Welcome to ACC106 lecture series number 4. And this video is to discuss on the topic of accounting equation effect and also the dual entry. So recap, the basic accounting equations is asset equals to owner's equity at liability. And the expanded accounting equations is asset at drawing at expenses and equals to capital at liability at revenue. And the dual entry is actually accounting concept that it says you must have two effects of every transactions that occur in the business. The effect is one account to be debited and one account to be credited. So every transaction has one record on the debit side and one record at the credit side. Initially, the business has nothing. You can see on the screen, for example, the business is called MyBiz. So in MyBiz is nothing because initially business has only a name. And then when owner brought in 100,000 of cash and put it into the business bank account, so that will affect the business accounting equation where the business now has increase of cash money in the bank 100,000, and the money is actually comes from the owner. So business is actually promise the owner that the 100,000 is actually owners. So sort of the business owe to the owner 100,000 ringgit, but the debt to the owner is indefinitely, means when the business grows then it becomes owners. So you will see in the business there is an increase money in the bank, the cash at bank, and you will see that there is an increase of capital, the promise to the owner. And when explaining the dual entry, what account to be debited and what account to be credited, it can be easily explained using the other clear formula, where asset drawing expenses, whenever the item falls into the classifications of asset, drawings or expenses, so whenever these items has increase in the business, for example, just now the money in the bank of business has been increased. So when then the money in the bank is classified as an asset. So when the money in the bank, the asset increase, that bank account should be on the debit side. The amount that you should record is on the debit side. So and whenever asset drawing expenses decreased in the business, you need to credit the account. For example, when the money in the bank reduced, so you need to credit the bank account. However, the vice versa, the capital liabilities and revenues increase, you need to credit the account. For example, just now, the capital in the business has been increased 100,000. So capital increase, so you need to credit capital account with 100,000 of amount. And whenever capital liabilities revenues decreased, you need to debit the account. So it will be easier for you to use the other clear formula to explain what account to be debited and what account to be credited. So just now, using the article formula, and once you have identified what are the accounting equation effect, so you need to write what are the accounting equation effect and what would be the dual entry records. So capital just now is part of owner's equity. So when you say capital increase, you can also put owner's equity increase. Both are correct. If you write them in the exam or test paper, the examiners still can accept it. Use owner's equity increase or capital increase whenever the contribution of owner increase in the business. And using other clear formula, when capital increase, capital account will be credited. So you will write CR capital. CR stands for credit. So you will credit capital account. And the cash at bank classify as asset. So you will write asset increase using the other clear formula. Whenever asset increase, you must debit that particular account. So bank account will be debited. So you will write DR bank, or you can use the term cash at bank. Bank is much simpler, but you can also use cash at bank. Now let's have a look at another example. Okay, we already have 100,000 of capital and 100,000 cash at bank. So when owner bought fixtures and fittings for the shop valued at 8,000 ringgit and paid using the business check. Business check means that you are using the money in the bank. If it says cash, they are using cash on hand. So they're using check. So definitely from the money from the bank. So in business, there is 100,000 of capital and 100,000 cash bank, but zero of fixtures and fittings. So these transactions would affect the accounting equation effects. The cash at bank will be reduced of 8,000 ringgit, because the 8,000 ringgit is being used to pay for the fixtures and fittings. So you will add up the 8,000 ringgit of value of fixtures and fittings into the business. So in explaining so the accounting equation effect and dual entry record to be right, to explain here is cash at bank classified as an asset. So you will write asset decrease because you need to take out that 8,000 ringgit to pay for the fixtures and fittings. And the cash at bank will be credited because if you use the other clear formula, you can see that in the table, whenever asset is decreased, you need to credit the particular account. In here, the asset account that you need to write to be credited is cash at bank. So you write CR bank. Features and fittings also an asset. However, when the owner bought the features and fittings, so the asset has increased. This particular asset is increased. So when you look into the table of other clear formula, you will see that whenever asset increase, you need to debit the particular account. So features and fittings account will be debited, and you will write DR debit fixtures and fittings. Now the business has 100,000 of capital, 92,000 cash at bank, and 8,000 ringgit of features and fittings. So if you look into the accounting equations, asset must be equals to owner's equity at liability. So now the asset, you have cash at bank asset, features and fittings asset. So you add them up is 100,000. So it equals to the capital or the owner's equity 100,000. Let's have another example. On the 1st February, the business purchased 10 units of microwave oven. So you assume the business trading the electrical goods. So when business bought the oven, is actually to sell them off to the customer. So when the purchase on credit means that you purchase with the delayed payment, and the purchase from FE's neighborhood. So you actually will owe to FE's neighborhood. When you owe to FE's neighborhood, you always will write that name. When somebody hutang, whether you hutang to somebody else or somebody else, the customer hutang the business, whenever there is a hutang, you need to write the name of that particular person or particular entity. So here, purchase on credit, purchase with the delayed payment, you are in the debt to FE's neighborhood, which price at 200 ringgit per unit. So the total of debt you owe to FE's neighborhood is 200 multiplied with 10, so it's 2,000 ringgit. And with credit term, 5/15, and 30. So this is the credit term not really used in Malaysia, but in the book or in the question, usually they will involve this particular credit term. Okay, let me explain you the credit term given just now. The credit term 5/15, and 30. So the 5, the number 5 in the front is actually the percentage of cash discount that is promised to be given to you regarding the invoice that they issue. So how many percentage that they're willing to give you, and the middle of number, the middle number is actually the number of days that you can delay, but still eligible for discount, the percentage discount that displayed in the front. So here it says, you can say the 5 is actually 5% of discount will be given to the business, to the buyer, if the buyer pays within, make the payment within the 15 days from the date of that invoice issued. Just now, the transaction is on the 1st of February. So 1st February with 15 days, so it's 16. So 16 will be the last day that you can delay payment, but still have opportunity to get the discount. But after that, you will not be given the discount. The last number is N30 or net 30. That is the maximum number of days that you can delay payment for that particular invoice. Means that if you are unable to pay after 30 days of the invoice, you can be charged or penalty or some other things because you are over delay the payment. So 5/15 comma and 30 says that 5% discount will be given if payment made within the 15 days of the date of invoice, and if the payment is made on 16 days onwards, there will be no discount, and the 30th day will be the last due date. So currently you have 92,000 cash at bank, 8,000 value of fish and fittings, and you have 100,000 of capital. So when you purchase trading goods on credit from the supplier that called FE Standard Berhad, so you need to open a new account that with the name of FE Standard Berhad, or you can just write FE Standard Berhad. The AP actually stands for account payable, so it will recognize directly FE Standard Berhad as your supplier. So supplier means that you owe to that particular person. So here, previously, you do not have any debt to the third party or any debt to the other person. So now the business has a debt to FE Standard Berhad. So you actually increase the liability of the business of 2,000 ringgit, and you also increase in trading goods in the business, and trading goods will be recorded in the account that we call purchases. So purchases is actually you record every trading goods that you bought for the business. And remember, trading goods is to be resale. So if you bought 10 items not for resale, that is not a trading goods. So we assume the microwave oven is to be sold to the customer. So you will put that all the 2,000 ringgit value of trading goods bought on credit would recorded in the purchases account. So explaining the accounting equation effect and dual entry record, the account payable FE Standard Berhad, AP FE Standard Berhad is actually classified as liability. So you will write liability increased using the other clear formula. Whenever the liability increased, you need to credit the account. So FE Standard Berhad account will be credited, and you will write CR credit AP FE Standard Berhad, or you just write CR FE Standard Berhad. The purchases account is classified as an expenses, so you will write expenses increased, and the purchases account will be debited, and you will write debit purchases. Remember, accounting equation effect only using the 6 letters, whether it is asset A, D, E, asset, drawing, expenses, or capital, liability, revenue. So if you do not have time to write a full name of expenses, so you just put a capital letter of E, so we will recognize that it's an expenses. So now the business has 92,000 of cash at bank, 8,000 features and fittings, 2,000 liability to FE Standard Berhad, and then 100,000 capital and 2,000 of purchases. So these are currently you have after those 3 transactions. And now another example. If you return that particular microwave oven to the supplier of FE Standard Berhad because it was faulty, so when you return it, you will decrease the amount of purchases, but we do not deduct the purchases account. we will write a new account that you call purchases. So because the purchases returns is to keep track how many returns that we can send to the supplier. So purchases still with the same cost, the same value, 2,000 ringgit, but you need to open up a new account that we call purchases return. And the liability is decreased, because when you return to supplier and supplier agreed to take back that faulty items, so your debt to FE Sdn Bhd will be reduced to 1,800 ringgit, because previously is 2,000, because 200 multiplied with 5, right? So now you return one carbon to the FE Sdn Bhd. So your debt to FE Sdn Bhd is 1,800 ringgit, because it's already decreased to 100 ringgit. So you will explain in the for the accounting equation effect and dual entry, the return is actually reducing the debt to supplier. So when you reduce debt, so you will write liability decreased. So the liability account, that is APF is number had account, would be debited. This you can check back with the other clear formula. Whenever asset drawing expenses increase, whether the asset drawing expenses decrease, and capital liability revenue increase, and capital liability revenue decrease, then you will show it will debit side. So you will write DRAP FE Sdn Bhd. You debit the FE Sdn Bhd account. And the goods return is actually reducing the purchases cost. So the purchases cost is actually an expenses. So you need to write expenses has been decreased. Your expenses previously is 2,000, but now it's actually your expenses. The total of your expenses has been decreased. So you need to write expenses decrease. So the purchases return account will be credited, because if you look into the other clear formula, whenever expenses decrease, you will credit the account. So purchases return is to record the return to the supplier, so you will credit the purchases return account. So you write CR, purchases return. So now let's look another example when business settle off the debt to FE Sdn Bhd. So currently we have 92,000 cash at bank, 8,000 value of features and fittings, and you have a debt to APF Sdn Bhd 1,800 ringgit, and you have 2,000 value of purchases, where 200 of it is a return to supplier, and 100,000 of capital. So when you settle off the debt, of course you settle, meaning using the money, and the money that we have in the business is money in the bank, the cash at bank. So when you want to settle off the debt to FE Sdn Bhd, again you need to remember what are the credit terms given, what has been agreed by the supplier. So remember the credit term 5/15, and 30. So it's actually, if you pay within the 15 days of the invoice, you should have you should get the discount of 5%. So if you are eligible for 5% discount, So you need to multiply 5% with 1,800 ringgit. That is the amount you owe to APF Islam Berhad. So when you multiply 1,800 ringgit with 5%, you will get a 90 ringgit. So 90 ringgit is actually the discount, because the agreement said that 16 February is the last day that you are eligible to get the discount. However, the business already settled the debt on the 14th, so before the due date. So business entitled of 5% discount, 90 ringgit discount from FE Berhad. So the effect, the account equation effect, you will see that we have a new account we call discount received with the amount of 90, and the amount of cash at bank has been decreased 1710. We do not pay 1,800 ringgit because we are eligible, the business eligible for a 90 ringgit of discount. So you only need to take out the money with the amount of 1,710 only to pay to the FE neighborhood. But whenever you say settle off, means that you settle all the debt. So APF is neighborhood now has zero balance because you already settled off the amount of 1,800 ringgit with the discount of 90. So the accounting equation effect and the dual entry record explaining by the payment is reducing the debt to the supplier, so you means that the liability has been decreased. You write liability decreased, so FPF is neighborhood. Whenever liability decrease, so the account will be debited. Look again to the other color formula. So APF is neighborhood will be debited. So you will write DR debit, APF is neighborhood. When you make the payment, of course the cash at bank has been reduced. Cash at bank is classified as asset, so you will write asset decreased. Whenever asset decrease, the account will be credited, so your bank account will be credited. So you will write CR bank or CR cash at bank. And the discount has been given by the supplier will resulting you to open up a new account that we call discount received. So you will write revenue increase because discount received classified as revenue. So your accounting equation effect, you need to write revenue increase. And discount received, if you look, whenever you look at into the other clear formula, whenever revenue increase, you need to credit that particular account. So that account named discount received. So you would credit that discount received account. So you write CR discount received. You will look here, it looks like it's not a dual entry, I mean not a two effects, but actually has four involved four effects. First is the payment 1710, so its effect debit AP's number had 1710, and you will credit the bank account with 1,710. That is the payment, the cash money that has been involved. And another transaction is actually the discount itself. So then you will record a 90 ringgit in AP FE's number had on the debit side, and you will credit a discount received account with 90 ringgit. So you actually have four effects. Okay, let's look into the the trade discount and cash discount, some people are confused. So trade discounts actually occur during sales or purchases transactions. So during the sales or purchases transaction, if you go to the shop and you are negotiating with the seller on the price, or let's say originally the price is 500 ringgit. So after negotiation, they allow you a discount, and you only need to buy that particular item with 450. So you actually has a 50 ringgit discount. That particular discount during the negotiation of sales transactions, it will call as trading discount or trade discount. So trade discount is not recorded in the account because it's quite difficult to maintain evidence of it. Normally, after you negotiate with the seller of the price, so the bill, the cash bill or the invoice that you given will be given with the newest or the after discount price. So there is no evidence on the cash bill or on the invoice saying that you received the discount. Some business, yes, they want to trace who his personnel, the sales personnel loves to give discount to the customer. So they need to keep track of that. So when they want to keep track that trade discount, yes, they can do that. They can write, has an evidence of the trade discount. However, that is only for management purposes. It's not for accounting purposes. So trade discount will not be recorded in the account. Normally, we are deducted directly from the original price with a discount. So you record after trade discount price. The cash discount, however, occurs during the payment of the debt. So when you pay less than it's owed, so somebody else need to answer why the payment is less. So you need to record in the account because this discount received from supplier or discount allowed to the customer account need to be opened up, and so that you will keep track why customer pay less and why you pay less to the supplier. So normally evidence will be written in the official receipt. Will be put, okay, the discount, how many that you received. Or you can refer to the invoice, because normally in the invoice itself will put what are the discount will be, cash discount will be given to the buyer if they follow the credit term agreed in as stated in the invoice. So the invoice can be the evidence. Okay, now let's move on to another example. Let's say on the 15th of February, business sold for a microwave oven with the price of 300 ringgit each to J Enterprise on the credit term of 5%. If if J Enterprise pay within the 7 days, and the maximum number of delay is 14. So currently in the business you have a record of cash at bank 90,290, and you have 8,000 value of features and fittings, but no liability, 0, and discount received of 92,000 purchases, 100,000 capital, and also you have a 200 ringgit of purchases return. So when you sell off the trading goods, you need to open up a new account of sales, because sales will be recorded using the sales price. Remember, the cost price of the oven is actually 200 ringgit. Now the selling price is 300. It's different. So 300 multiplied with 4 units of oven, the total sales would be 1,200 ringgit. And we sell to J Enterprise on credit, hutang. So whenever a customer owe us, so you need to open up another account with the name of J Enterprise, and normally we put AR in the front of J Enterprise. AR stands for account receivables, means that it is a customer. So when customer owe us is an asset, so we will open up the due account. So a J Enterprise. So you can write the accounting equation effect and the dual entry record as ARG Enterprise in asset, yeah, because the customer owe us the money. So you write asset increased, so the account of ARG Enterprise will be debited. So you write DR ARG Enterprise. The sales is revenue because we sell off to the customer. Sales is revenue, so you will write revenue increased as the accounting equation effect. And the dual entry record is sales account will be credited, because if you again refer to the other clear formula table, whenever revenue increased, that particular account need to be credited. So sales account will be credited. So you write CR sales. Now, what happened if the G Enterprise return the oven? So you already has a record of J Enterprise, but when J Enterprise return an oven to us, so J Enterprise is will be reduced, decrease of 300 ringgit, because one oven the selling price is 300. So now when J Enterprise return the microwave oven, the debt that the debt of ARG Enterprise now becomes 900 ringgit, right? And also we need to open up a new account that we call sales return, or another term that you can use is return inwards. I normally loves to use sales return because it contradict to the sales. Okay, so the sales return account will be opened up with a 300 amount, because that is the price of one microwave oven. But the sales account will not be affected. It's still 1,200. So you to write the accounting equation effect and dual entry record. The return is reducing the debt of customer. So the customer debt of customer is an asset. So you write asset decreased. Whenever asset decrease, again use the other clear formula table. You will credit the ARJ Enterprise account. So write CR ARJ Enterprise. And the goods return actually reduce the revenue. Previously, we have the sales of 1,200 ringgit, but when the customer return the goods, so actually your revenue, the actual revenue would be decreased. So you need to write revenue decreased. However, you will not credit the sales account. You need to open up a new account that we call sales return. So the sales return will be debited, because whenever revenue decreased, that particular account will be debited. So write DR sales return. Okay, there are lots of other business transactions, but I don't think it is worth for you to listen to my video, because you might fall off. So I will share with you the questions, and you can have a practice on what are the accounting equation effects and also the dual entry record to be right. So thank you for watching this video, and watch out for the next video for the next topic. Bye bye for now.